Welcome to Afri-Vita, where we unveil the hidden mysteries of science and its history. In the beginning, long before laboratories and patents, the Earth was gifted with seeds, living codes of life, created whole and perfect. Every kernel of maize, every grain of wheat, every millet seed was indigenous, parental, and whole. Each carried within it the sacred law of reproduction, after its own kind. Ancient peoples revered these seeds. For the Maasai of East Africa, millet and sorghum were not just food. They were medicine, heritage, and covenant with the land. Native Americans called corn their mother. In India, rice was sacred. Seeds were life itself, diverse, self-replicating, and resilient. But history would bend. What was once a gift of God would be altered into a tool of control. The first disruption: industrial chemistry. The Industrial Revolution brought new machines and chemistry into the soil. In the 19th century, Justus von Liebig, a German chemist, declared that plants only needed 3 nutrients: nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, NPK. Fertilizer companies seized the idea, and synthetic fertilizers were born. Farmers abandoned organic manures and compost. Soil became dependent on chemicals, its natural microbial life slowly strangled. Yields rose, but biodiversity fell, and soils degraded. The seed, once fed by the richness of organic life, was now forced into an artificial diet. In the 1940s to 60s, a new messiah of agriculture appeared. Norman Borlaug, an American agronomist, later called the father of the Green Revolution. Funded by the Rockefeller and Ford Foundations, he developed high-yield dwarf wheat and later rice varieties. The promise was dazzling: end hunger. Fields multiplied their harvest. Borlaug even won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1970. But beneath the celebration lay consequences. His wheat contained altered starch, amylopectin A, linked to modern spikes in obesity, diabetes, and metabolic disease. His crops required heavy synthetic fertilizers and pesticides to thrive, deepening farmer dependency on corporations. Biodiversity was sacrificed. Thousands of indigenous grains were abandoned for a few uniform hybrids. It looked like salvation, but in truth, it was a Trojan horse of dependency. By the 1970s, science pierced deeper. No longer content with hybridizing plants, researchers learned to cut and splice DNA. Using bacterial plasmids and gene guns, they inserted foreign genes into crops. The first GM plants appeared in the 1980s. Tomatoes, soybeans, maize, canola, cotton. Who drove this? Corporations like Monsanto, Syngenta, DuPont, and Bayer, with sponsorship from U.S. government agencies and universities. Their stated goal: fight pests, drought, and hunger. But the hidden truths? Patented seeds. Farmers could no longer save seeds. Each year they had to buy a new. Roundup-ready crops. Monsanto engineered plants resistant to glyphosate herbicide, Roundup. Farmers could blanket fields in chemicals, killing everything green, except the GMO crop. Collateral damage. Roundup not only destroyed weeds, but also endangered herbs and near-relative species, while soil microbes and pollinators suffered. The power of seed sovereignty slipped from the farmer's hand to the corporation's patent. In the 1990s, another dark invention emerged: genetic use restriction technology, GERT, also called the Terminator gene. Developed by Delta and Pineland with the U.S. Department of Agriculture, later acquired by Monsanto, this technology engineered seeds that would self-destruct after one harvest. Farmers planting them would reap crops once, but any saved seed would be sterile. This ensured total dependence on corporations. Indigenous parental crops faced contamination risks. Farmers in the Global South, who relied on seed saving for survival, were threatened with extinction of tradition. Public outrage forced Monsanto to pause commercialization, but the patents remain, and the concept lives on in new forms of gene guard technology. The glyphosate revolution was a short-time experience. At first, farmers hailed it as a miracle: spray Roundup, kill weeds, protect crops. But nature fought back. Just as bacteria develop antibiotic resistance, weeds developed herbicide resistance. By the 2000s, superweeds infested millions of acres across the US and Brazil. More chemicals were sprayed, more genes were spliced. Meanwhile, glyphosate's safety came into question. In 2015, the World Health Organization's International Agency for Research on Cancer, IARC, classified glyphosate as a probable human carcinogen. The very chemical meant to feed the world became a shadow of disease. At the same time, in Svalbard, Norway, beneath Arctic ice, the Global Seed Vault was constructed in 2008, funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Rockefeller Foundation, and Nordic governments. But a haunting question lingers. If GMOs are the future, why preserve millions of original indigenous seeds in secret vaults? Why is access restricted to governments and corporations, not the farmers whose heritage these seeds represent? It suggests this: while the masses consume altered food, the elites safeguard the originals. The story is not about feeding humanity. It is about control. Control of farmers through patents and sterile seeds. Control of soils through chemical dependency. Control of bodies through altered starches and rising chronic disease. Control of nations, because whoever controls food controls people. As Henry Kissinger once said, control oil and you control nations, control food and you control people. Yet all is not lost. Across the world, farmers and scientists resist. In India, Navdanya, led by Vandana Shiva, preserves indigenous seed banks. In Brazil, Mariangela Hungria pioneers nitrogen-fixing bacteria to replace fertilizers. In Africa, local cooperatives revive millet, sorghum, and amaranth, resilient, nutritious grains. The soil itself pleads for restoration, for organic matter, compost, and natural cycles. Humanity faces a choice: surrender life to corporate patents, or reclaim the gift of God's original seeds. The story of GMOs is more than science. It is a battle for the essence of life. From Eden's purity to Monsanto's patents, from Norman Borlaug's hybrid grains to Svalbard's icy vault,